sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. This is the time of the year I affectionately refer to as National Screw-Off Month. And National Screw-Off Month lasts for probably maybe the week before Thanksgiving until probably the first week of January. National Screw-Off Month is about 6 weeks long. It's the longest month of the year. And this is a time when most salespeople, many, not you, of course, will kind of quit working. We say, oh, I'm so busy closing things. I'm so busy getting deals closed. And plus, it's the holidays and nobody's buying anyway. So we might as well just, whatever it is that we do, right? And so you end up hanging around more. Your behavior goes to zero. You stop calling on new business because you're too busy closing things for the year end. Plus, it's year end, right? Busy, busy, busy year end. Which what that often means is you're leaving kind of early. Maybe you're doing some Christmas shopping. Or if you're not leaving early, you're online doing shopping or screwing off somehow. Sometimes, and here's what happens. And the reason I speak about this so passionately is that I recognize it is I fell victim to National Screw-Off Month about a dozen years ago. I said to myself in a former life, I said, nobody buys what I sell between Thanksgiving and the new year. Doesn't happen. Nobody does that. Nobody's in the office. Nobody makes those kind of decisions. So why would I even try? So as I had that mindset, I think I quit about October, end of October, beginning of November, because hell, man, it's a good time to go hunting and nobody's buying anyway. So I did that, had a wonderful hunting season. Great to be outside. That was wonderful. But I probably acted like I was working. That's the worst, right? When you act like you're working, you're quote busy, but you're really not doing shit to move the ball forward. So I'm sure I was busy, but I wasn't doing shit to move the ball forward. And not only did I have a bad, call it December, didn't close anything in November, December, but I didn't expect to because nobody buys training, coaching in November, December. It also messed me up for January and February because I didn't have a pipeline because I was too busy telling myself nobody's going to buy anyway. So it rocked my world financially and otherwise. And I started thinking, why does this happen? What the hell was I thinking? And some of it, I think it was my ego, right? Your ego is always trying to protect itself. Your ego never wants to be hurt, embarrassed, let down. And so your ego says things like, well, nobody's buying, or, hey, at this point in your career, people should be calling you anyway. And if nobody's calling you, then clearly nobody's buying, right? Or, gosh, you're just getting, everybody's going to say, call me after the holidays anyway. So why don't you just wait to call them after the holidays? Anybody ever hear yourself say those things to yourself, right? That's your ego talking. Your ego wanting to protect you, wanting you to take the easy way out. Your ego doesn't want you to have to work too hard. Your ego's like, no, you've worked hard enough this year. Nobody's buying what you sell. You're too busy. You're too busy closing stuff you've been working on. It's the end of the year, fourth quarter, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. So that following year, after I basically wasted the first quarter trying to get things ramped up again, I said, I will not make the mistake that I made last year and take the last month and a half, 2 months of the year off and act like I was working, but to really work. And so it's funny, I continued to work all the way through December 23rd. And you know what's funny? I closed 2 corporate deals in December when people never make decisions about buying what I sell, right? What's the bullshit you're telling yourself right now that is keeping you from keeping your foot to the floor on the accelerator, What are you telling yourself right now that makes you feel better about screwing off this time of the year? Here's something that I heard today on a different podcast. This guy was challenging, and he said, so you're working on your goals for next year, right? You better be. By the way, we have a goal setting workshop coming up that's open to anybody. We'll be putting out information here in the next week or so on LinkedIn and on our email list. So if you want to be a part of that, so please let me know, respond over LinkedIn or respond on our email list that you want to be a part of this. But, it's important to be setting goals for next year, right? Setting plans for next year. Here's the trick. Here's a great trick for you to jump start and do better next year than this year. And your ego will tell you there's no way this will work. And your ego will say you're way too busy. You can't do this. And your ego will say, well, that might work for some people, but not in my business. Tell your ego, oh, here's a quick thing. I used to tell my ego to shut the fuck up. But I talked to my wife, who is she's much more into meditation and yoga and being kind to yourself. And she said, instead of telling your ego to shut the fuck up, your ego is actually you. Don't be so mean to yourself. It's a funny thing, right? If anybody talked to me the way I talk to myself, I would punch them in the face. I don't know about you, right? But that's our biggest critic is always ourselves. So what she said to say instead is, when your ego says you don't need to do this, or hey, you've earned this, you don't need to make cold calls anymore, good grief, nobody buys this time of the year. Instead of saying shut the fuck up, instead she said, say, thank you for your opinion. Now go sit down and be quiet. Thank you for your opinion. Now go sit down and be quiet. So you know what? I've adopted that. I like it. It's fine. Here's the trick that will help you not only in December, but also in January, February, and all of 2023. You will beat your competitors. You will beat the people in your office if you will only do this one thing. When you've created your goals and you've created your plan and you know the behaviors that you need to be doing to be successful in 2023, because this is the year you're going to break out. This is the year that's going to be better than any of the others you've ever had. Right? This is the one we've been waiting for. And your ego says, yes, that's right. That's right. And I've done everything and I don't need to do anything more because this is going to be the year. Here's what I want you to do. When you create your plan for 2023 of your prime targets, well, let's go back to why it matters that you do better this year, to why emotionally you have to close that gap between where you are and where you want to be. What your dream and your vision is for 2023, what you know you have to achieve as it takes you towards your lifetime goals of achievement and experiences, right? This is the next step. So now you've got your plan, you got your vision, then you got your plan to get there, right? Who are the people, the customers you already have that you can get more business from, that you need to be talking to about adding more services, more things that you do, continuing their contracts, buying more stuff? Who are your ideal prospects that you've got a list of at least 50 of that this year you're going to work hard to have a conversation with? You're going to have a conversation with them about what you do. Those ideal prospects right in your sweet spot that are currently working with either nobody or with one of your competitors that you know you're better than. You've made that list and then you've created a behavior thing so that every Monday when you come in the door, you know exactly how many calls you need to make, how many networking events you need to go to, how many referrals you need to ask for, how many LinkedIn posts and requests you're going to do every week. You've got all that stuff down. Why don't you start doing that? Do that behavior now. Since you've already got it from your goal setting, you're getting ready to make it. What would happen if you started making calls the Monday after Thanksgiving? What would happen if you treated December like you plan to treat January? You could pick up another, I don't know, if you take the week after Christmas off, by the way, people buy then too, but you could pick up at least another 15 working days where you will have a kick-ass January, February, and March, more than you have if you just say, nobody's buying anyway, I'm just riding around doing bullshit. So I challenge you. Continue with your foot on the accelerator and your prospecting from now to the beginning of the year. Keep going. Make your goals for 23 and start working your 23 behavior plan now. Do it now. There is no downside except for you'll have to fight with your ego that will say you don't have time. You don't have time to do it. Our goals boot camp, our goals workshop is December the 1st, which is coming up here in about 8. I'm recording this on Tuesday the 22nd. Our goals workshop is December the 1st. We will have a sales page that goes up for that. And I will get that out to you guys. If you do not have formal goal setting, I'm not talking about your company giving you the number you have to reach. I'm talking about you creating your own personal goals for you to figure out why personally that it matters for you to do more this year. And then as you'll have your goals stuff done on December the 1st, and then you can start working the plan that same afternoon. The goals workshop is 2 hours. It is 2 hours of time that can make you lots and lots of money. Many of us, I think they say 95% of salespeople don't create goals, right? And usually it's the top 2 or 3% of salespeople always create goals and plans and have activities they're supposed to do. Let that be you this year. I can't wait to hear how it's working for you. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales School. I appreciate you all. I thank you very much. I love I appreciate you all and all the comments and the support. Please share this with somebody that needs to hear it. And if you have not yet reviewed this podcast, please give me a review, write some words down there. It's really helping. And we're growing like crazy. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.